Good morning. Hey, Doug.
Hey, Jackie.
We're down here for a little preview of the eclipse viewing. I am Jackie Augustine, Executive Director of Blueprint Geneva, welcoming everybody who's coming in for the eclipse. And I'm assuming that the lakefront here is going to be a location that people are going to flock to view the eclipse. So we're here to do a couple safe eclipse viewing tips for people. Um, just to start out, I just want to remind everybody that the parking lots along the lakefront are going to be handicapped accessible only. So they are going to be closed to general traffic. This is a walkable event. This is the kind of thing you want to get out of your car, walk around, and experience. So we're encouraging people to check the City of Geneva's website and Facebook page for a list of maps where you can park your car and they will shuttle you to the lakefront if that's the viewing location that you choose. Right now, the forecast is showing partly cloudy, which is the same forecast for today. And you can see what we've got today. So, hoping for something like a sky like this on Monday. But we'll talk through what people might do if conditions aren't as great as they are right now. So, I want to welcome Doug Reilly, our resident astronomer, who has been helping us through this process. Doug held a visitor over at the Finger Lakes Visitor Center, which is where you can still get some eclipse glasses if you need them. Also at the Geneva Public Library. Doug held a training session for our eclipse docents, who are volunteers that will be in various city parks helping local people and people who come out to our great extensive network of parks to view the eclipse. And I'll put a special plug in for Washington Street Playground and the Brook Street Park, the tennis courts at Brook Street. The Hildreth Hill neighborhood has a amazing schedule of events that they're doing for all ages. So if you're in the Brook Street area, we'd encourage you to walk there and watch it with your neighbors and have a great time with the Hildreth Hill group. So now I'll turn it over to Doug to give us some eclipse watching tips, an idea of when we need to have our glasses on and when it's safe to take them off. So welcome, Doug.
Hey, thanks so much, Jackie. I really appreciate that. And only one correction. I guess I'm an ex-resident astronomer, but my heart is still very much in Geneva, and I actually will be in the area for the eclipse, which I'm really excited about.
Woohoo!
So I think the weather does look good. Knock on wood. Um, so let's hope that that stays that way. A couple of points I wanted to make. First is like if you're in Geneva, Geneva itself is in the path of totality. So I don't want viewers to think that they have to go anywhere to see the eclipse. It's going to be all over Geneva, so you might be able to see it from your backyard. If you want to know if you'll have a view of the eclipse on Monday from your backyard, go out around 3:20 today and see where the sun is in your backyard. And if you can see the sun, then that would be visible on Monday as well, assuming that there isn't clouds in front of it. So you can you can walk, you can go to your backyard, you can go to a local park. That's a great idea. Definitely, I think recommend people walking wherever they go in Geneva because I think traffic is going to be insane. So um,
Definitely.
in terms of safety, there's really like one basic rule, and it's kind of a life rule that we live by every day, which is don't ever stare or look directly at the sun. So on a normal sunny day, we walk around and we don't get blinded because we don't stare at the sun. And the same rule holds for the eclipse as well. So if you don't have like official eclipse glasses, like Jackie is modeling right now, then you don't want to look at the sun at any point during the eclipse, like directly, except for, and so there's a rule and then there's an exception. The exception is the approximately like 2 to 3 minutes of totality, when the eclipse is going to look something like my background image right now. And so at that point, the moon will be covering the photosphere of the sun, revealing the sun's corona, which is the stuff that you see like around the moon right now, which is the solar plasma like shooting away from the sun. That's part of what looks so amazing about the eclipse. So during that totality, most of the dangerous rays of the sun are blocked by the moon, and you can take off your glasses and look. And I have times on that for Geneva. It would be from 3:21 and 28 seconds to 3:23 and 49 seconds. So it's very specific because, with an eclipse being just a couple minutes, we count every second. So,
And
so I think.
And Doug, I just wanted to say, I mean, I know both you and I have seen a total solar eclipse before. We saw the 2017 Great American Eclipse.
Mhm.
I was in Nebraska. I'm not sure where you were. We're in
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think we might expect something similar in that in my viewing location, there was an announcement for glasses off at
Yep.
the point of totality, and then there was an announcement for glasses back on. But
Mhm.
generally, good rule of thumb is like you'll know when it's dark, and you'll
Yeah.
know when it starts to get light again. And if you can see the sun at all, these glasses need to be on your face.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And so hopefully, if you are in a location where somebody's calling it out, that's really nice, because then it's like official. But yeah, you can tell when it gets really dark. You'll start to be able to see. Well, it looks kind of like the sky opens up and you see a patch of nighttime around the sun. That's one of the things that makes totality very different than a partial eclipse. So you will know, and you'll also, with your glasses on, you'll also be able to see like the last little bit of the photosphere, because at that point it's moving kind of quickly. You'll be able to see the last little bit of the photosphere dip behind the moon, and you'll see these like little like almost like beads of light for a second, and then it'll just be dark, and then you can take your glasses off too, and then you'll also get a sense of, you'll start to see those little beads of light on the other side of the moon at the end of the eclipse at 3:23 49 seconds. um
And we
so
do encourage people, again, to be clear, only in the totality, for those about 3 minutes, we do encourage people to go ahead and take the glasses off to really have
mhm,
that experience. I know the message is keep your glasses on the entire time, which is generally the rule. But like you said, for that exception, for
mhm.
those 3 minutes of totality, the experience of taking the glasses off, it is safe, and what you will experience, assuming we've got clear skies, is not to be missed.
Yeah, it's really a really special experience. And if you have those glasses, you can practice. You can go outside, put the glasses on, and look up at the sun, and it'll be totally safe. You're not going to see much. You'll just see a little, the round dot of the sun through the glasses. But that, if you want some practice, that's a great thing to do. So so people used to think that there was something especially dangerous about an eclipse, and sort of we would go inside and hide. There's nothing uh, special about the danger of the sun. It's something we live with every day. We just don't look at it. So,
And
and
I just want to,
I
oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, no, and I just want to say, if you have at home binoculars or a telescope, you should never look at the sun through any kind of optics. If you've ever had a magnifying glass in the sun and maybe a poor ant, you know what happens. It's very dangerous. So you don't need to use those things to view the eclipse. Unless you have special filters, and if you do, who you are. You're an amateur astronomer and whatever. But leave that stuff at home. All you need is you and the glasses, and you're good to go. So.
And I just wanted to make a note on the glasses. The glasses should have, not sure if this is visible, but this is the
Mhm.
ISO certification. Um, Unfortunately, as you know, anytime there's a big event, there might be people trying to make a little money off of it, selling some glasses that aren't actually safe. So the glasses that are being distributed at the Geneva Public Library, the 3,000 pairs that Blueprint Geneva put out, several other groups have glasses, also the Welcome Center, those are all certified glasses. And you know that because it has the certification printed on it. You can also double check. We put a link on the Blueprint Facebook page for the Academy of the American Astronomical Association, so that you can check to make sure your
Mhm.
glasses are safe. But if you got them from one of the free distributions, either through the schools or one of these locations in Geneva, your glasses are certified.
Yeah, that's a great point. So one thing I want to do is just kind of show you what else you'll see during the eclipse. So as soon as totality begins, you're going to get a view of what we call the corona, which is that everything you see around the moon behind me here. And but I'm going to change backgrounds really quickly to show you some other things that you might see. So, oops. So hopefully you can see that
Yep.
and read that. It's not backwards, is it, Jackie?
Yep. Nope. We can read
Oh,
it.
okay, great. So I'm just going to move over here so you can see behind me. I'm getting my weatherman practice here, pointing at something that isn't there for me. But you'll see the eclipsed sun up here, and right there. My finger's disappearing into it. Um, but as the sky opens up, you'll actually be able to see some stars. Again, assuming it's clear, you'll be able to see some stars. To the right of the moon, you'll see a very bright star-like object. That's the planet Venus. A little bit further in that direction, which is over here, you'll see Saturn, and right next to Saturn, you might see Mars. A little like it looks like a little red star. Saturn's usually fairly bright as well, and then to the upper left of the sun, right behind my head here, you'll see the planet Jupiter, which is also a pretty bright object in the night sky as well. So during that couple minutes of the eclipse, you might be able to see four planets, and actually right next to Jupiter, I think is Neptune, but it's faint and it might be hard to find. And then another object that you might see between Jupiter and the sun. So right here-ish, there we go, right there. You might see like a smeared object, which would actually be a comet. I have to thank Todd Taylor for bringing this to my attention because I missed the news articles about it. But it's actually kind of a cool object. It's called Comet 12P, or Comet Pons-Brooks. And one of the cool things about that comet was that it was actually co-discovered in Geneva in 1883, or just outside of Geneva, by William Brooks, who was a resident astronomer in the city for a long time. So that's kind of cool. That comet appears once every 71.2 years. So, and it's in the sky for a couple months. If it has if the comet, depends on what the comet's doing in the next couple days, but it could get a lot brighter, in which case you might see it between Jupiter and the sun. So again,
This
you
is
don't
so
need,
exciting.
I
Geneva
know, right?
Comet for a Geneva eclipse. And
Yeah,
this is wonderful.
you'll see news articles about the Devil Comet because it might actually have two tails, which is a thing that comets do when they get to the sun. But there's nothing evil or portentous about the comet. It's just a chunk of ice floating around the solar system, and it might be visible. So glance up in that direction during the couple minutes of totality when it's safe to look, and you might see that, which would be really
Yeah,
cool.
and again, these are not things that you're going to see when you have your eclipse glasses on and are looking at the sun before it's in the totality. But once things go entirely dark and you've got that night sky, when it's safe to take your glasses off, this is a great picture of what we might expect to see. Thank you, Doug. I really
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yep.
And another Geneva connection. That's very exciting.
It's our own eclipse.
So I hate to bring this up, but I feel like we ought to discuss it. Um, Forecast says partly cloudy. Again, today it says partly cloudy and it's great. Uh, but we've had some snow, some rain the past couple of days, and there is some of that back in the forecast for next week. What should we expect or do, or how might we change things if it does start to look cloudy around here?
Yeah. So I think the first thing would be, if you have a sky like you have right now, where you have patches of blue, and it's not completely overcast, then I think giving it a shot, sticking to your original plan, or if you were going to walk down to the state park, then maybe you don't, maybe you just go out into your backyard, but give it a chance because it can clear up at any moment. And there was a big national park out in the Midwest that had like 100,000 visitors for the last eclipse, and it was totally cloudy until the second of the eclipse, and then the sky like opened up, and everybody got to see it. So you never know what'll happen. I guess I'm an optimist with that. I know, some people will probably be tempted to like look at a weather map and try to like jump in their car, but there's going to be a lot of people on the road, so I think probably the best plan is to kind of stay put, and kind of roll the dice and see what happens. The only thing that would cause me to like cancel like any of my efforts would be like if the entire sky is one shade of gray and it's been raining for 12 hours. But even then, I might still like put on a raincoat and just like see if maybe there'll be a little break in the clouds
Right,
during.
right.
So,
And you'll still experience the darkness. Um, and there are some kind of citizen science initiatives going on to make some recordings of the eclipse experience. And while we don't suggest that people use their phone to try to take any pictures of the sky, there will be professional photographers doing that. You'll
mhm.
be able to find lots of images afterwards. Take pictures of your family and friends and the crowds watching the eclipse, but you don't need to have pictures of the sky. But what are some other things people might do that you're aware of to help record the experience?
Yeah, I mean, well, I know like during the last eclipse, like news organizations, I remember NPR did this, like they collected little audio clips of people's reactions, and an audio recording, which all of our phones can do, could be really cool. I mean, the nice thing is it frees you from looking at your phone because you just turn it on and you're just recording the audio. But it allows you to sort of have that experience and then record that for posterity. And if you're in a group, usually the group has like a big reaction to totality. People have all sorts of different reactions, which is, if you haven't seen it, you don't know what your own reaction is going to be. People cheer, they shout. Some people cry because it's such like a intimate and like powerful experience. So it's really neat. So that could be a great lasting memory, is just sort of a recording of what people are saying and how they're reacting to it. There is a citizen science project. I can't remember what it's called, but maybe we can put it in the show
Yep,
notes, as say
I'll
on the
post it.
YouTube, um, where you can like do an audio recording of sort of the ambient sound around, where they're actually doing some science with that. Listening to what birds and insects are making noise and then not making noise. Um, and that's something I would definitely encourage people to just at least be aware of, is the eclipse is happening up in the sky, but it's having an effect on the ground. And so there's all sorts of natural phenomena that you can observe. One thing is in the lead up to to totality, when when the moon is partially covering the sun, look at shadows, like shadows going through trees. Instead of regular shadows, you'll see lots of little crescents, which is actually an image of the eclipse. So that's something cool you can observe. You can observe the temperature drop, usually significantly during totality. Street lights might start to come on. Birds and insects might stop singing suddenly because all of a sudden they think it's nighttime. So there's all sorts of neat things you can do, and I agree with you, Jackie. I don't think it's worth like trying to record a video on your phone, and I'd hate to have people looking at their phones and not looking up at the sky. It is really a wonderful event where you can just look, and you don't need you don't need telescopes and binoculars or cameras or anything like that. And I guess trust Jackie and I. It will form an indelible memory. It is very unforgettable.
It's definitely a moment to just be present and
yeah.
look. No need to try to record it or do anything else. But like you said, setting your phone on for a voice memo, setting that down or having it alongside you is a great way for you to come back and revisit, other things going on as part of that observational moment. But yeah, this is going to be something. I feel like how wonderful that this is happening right here, coming over Geneva and the Geneva Comet. You mentioned Mr. Brooks, the Brooks Observatory, Dr. Brooks. The observatory is going to be open for limited tours this weekend. We can also put a link to that as well. That's up on Castle Street. But a great place to be viewing the eclipse. Anywhere in the city of Geneva, it will be visible. Again, activities in the parks, activities or gathering at the lakefront, but no need to drive, no need to be tooling around in your car. Just park it and walk. So
definitely be safe.
Thank you so much for your time, Doug, and I definitely look forward to seeing you for the eclipse and welcoming everybody here, and we will see what our post-eclipse wrap-up looks like.
From my days as an amateur astronomer, we used to joke that we had something called a clear sky dance that we would do before an event. There is no official dance, but if you know of one that might influence the weather, then please do it. Because
if we could get a sky like this on Monday, it'd be wonderful. So here's hoping.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks so much, Jackie.
Thanks.